Welcome to a special edition of Crawford County Outdoors. I'm Duane Kohler, and we're going to make a table to go next to our back porch swing. So I think it was about 7 years ago, we made this swing, and Chef Lisa came over, and she did something on the grill or whatever, and then we sat on the swing, and there was like no place to set anything down to put the food. So when I sit on the swing out back, the dogs come racing around and knock over stuff. So I want to make a little table out back so we can have it next to the swing, so we can have a place to set your drink, a place to set your snack, and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so the first step is to cut the legs out. So what I'm going to use is regular deck boards, and a regular deck board is supposed to be 1.25 inches thick, but technically it's 1 inch thick. So I'm going to cut them. I'm going to cut them in half lengthwise, and then we'll make a 15-degree angle, and that'll be so the legs will tip a little bit, so that'll make the table sturdy, so it won't fall over. So we'll start with the table saw here, and I want to make sure I got the pieces I have are long enough here, and the legs need to be 24 inches. Yeah, so those are okay. That one's 28, that one's 29. Okay. Put my safety glasses on. Let me see if there's any. Okay, so we can use these two. Okay, so when we're going to have the legs like this, and I want to have the round part of the board facing to the outside. So I'll cut the 15-degree angle this way and this way, and then we'll get the legs ready. All right. Okay, so 24 inches. Okay, so we got the angle at the bottom and at the top, so it'll be on the ground and meeting the top. Okay. And then we'll measure the other end of the, let me just do it this way. I'll use this piece. I'll draw a line. One last leg. Okay, now the second part is we're going to take a deck board and cut it in half and then have two slats, and then we'll use the legs to attach on the slat, and then we'll attach. Now these deck boards are thinner, so they're supposed to be a 1-inch deck board, but it's actually 3/4 of an inch, but they're thinner, so that'll keep the table nice and light and everything. So we're going to use that for the surface of the deck. And this will be the support pieces on the side to hold it together. The right length here first. Well, you know what? Before I do that, let me measure, because I'm going to line these boards up to make the surface of the table. Oh, it's 22.5. Okay, I'm glad I measured. Okay, 22.5, because they're just a hair short. There's 22.5. Okay. All right, next up, we'll trim these boards to the right size. So if it's 22.5 long, we can cut them at 22.5 wide. There's a straight line, edge, okay. Two and a half. 22.5. 22.5. And the last one. Okay. Okay, we're done with the saw for now. So we'll put the rounded piece down, and then we'll line these up. And we want to have it overhanging about 1.5 inches so that we'll have a place to put the legs on the outside. So let me grab the tape measure. Okay, 1.5 inches, 1.5 inches. Inch and a half, okay. Okay. Okay, so you want the screw to be about halfway, half of the screw to be through the top board, and then the other half into the bottom board. So that's just about perfect right there. Whoops. Okay. Now, got to get the right drill bit here. So, make sure that, yeah, that works perfect. Okay. Okay. There we go. So I'm going to put the screws close to the edge here so that they're attaching well. Now when I do the next board, I can kind of line up with that screw, and then I can line it up with the, when I open up the gap there, I can line it up with that. That's lined up, okay. Okay, good. That one's lined up. Now these boards, they've been sitting outside, so they're kind of a little bit stained up or whatever. So we'll paint the table after to match the swing. I always wear gloves because sometimes the screws will like scratch up your finger if you don't wear gloves. So I always like wearing gloves. Okay, it's lined up. Okay, Now the other side. Same thing. We'll put the rounded side down. When the boards get made, sometimes they get sanded a little bit, and that's why they get a little bit rounded on the edge there. So these boards were left over from other projects. Okay, 1.5 and 1.5. Okay. So you want to keep them nice and tight together. Right there, okay. Okay, good. Grabbed, okay, good. Pull that board in tight there. There we go. Okay, good. I'll use these same screws now to attach the legs. So now we want the legs, we want the bottom of the leg to be just about even with the outside up here. So that looks pretty good right there. So I'm going to use these shorter screws just to attach here, and then I'll take the longer screws and I'll put one down through from the top. So that looks, let me measure and see what that distance is so I get that. Okay, so that's 3.5 inches, okay. Let me start the screw laying down here so I can put some pressure on it. Three and a half right there, okay. Okay, good. All right. Let me do the same thing. I'll get this one started. 3.5. Okay. All right, do the other side. Okay, 3.5 inches right there. There we go. Same thing, we'll get a screw started there. Right there, okay. Okay, now there's the table started. So now what I want to do is take a longer screw and go down through the top into the leg, so that'll just reinforce the leg. So I've got screws that are 2.5 inches long, as opposed to those ones that are 1.5 inch long. So we can probably just use one screw for each leg. I just want to make sure I don't hit the other screws here. So get lined up right here. There we go. Okay. Okay, good. Now just doing that makes it sturdier, but we want to do one more thing to make it even sturdier yet. I want to put a piece of wood across between the legs like that, and then that'll reinforce. And then if we want to later on, if I can find some more boards, we can make a second shelf lower down. That's not necessary, but we can do that because that'll even reinforce it even further. All right, so let's put this 10 inches off the ground. Okay, and now that distance across there is 20 inches and a quarter, okay? So 20 inches and a quarter right there. Now this piece of wood has a little notch on it, so I'm going to put that notch pointing down. Okay, that's lined up pretty well. Good. Gotta move this one, I gotta hold on to this one. Let me tip this over so I can put some more pressure on it here. Get it lined up right. Okay. There we go. All right, now we do the other side. Okay, 10 inches. Okay, and this was, now this one's 19, this one's 19 and a half, okay. Guess I got that leg a little tighter. Okay, that looks pretty well lined up. Okay, let's do what we did before. Let's turn it sideways. Let me put more pressure on. Okay. There we go. Okay. Well, that's very sturdy. Now, one thing that is an option is we can do another layer below. That would even stabilize it further and would give another place for some more reinforcement. Okay, so let me measure the distance down here. Whoops, what did I do with the tape measure? And then we'll make these boards here. Okay, so that's 22 inches exactly on that side and a little under 22 on that side. Okay, so this one's 32 and this will work. Okay, I can make two pieces out of this one. Okay. That end looks pretty straight. So 22. And then 2 pieces out of this one, so 22 and 44, and just long enough. Good. All right, so I'll line them up here. Okay, so there's going to be just a tiny little gap on the edge, and that's okay. There we go. All right, I can use these small screws again. Okay. There we go. This lower tray will make the table much more steady. It wasn't unsteady before, but it'll be very strong now. And I guess there's a possibility you may want to sit something on the lower shelf too, if that's needed. All right, last set of screws here. Okay, the table's very strong now, very sturdy. All right, so I do want to paint this so it matches the swing out back. So we'll work on that later. Okay. Okay, so we just finished painting the table and it looks great and it matches the swing. So really excited about this, and now the dogs won't be knocking over stuff every time I set something down, like if I'm setting down a drink or whatever. Okay, Chef Lisa is coming up next, so be sure to stick with us. That's going to be great. Well, joining us now, Chef Lisa Beck. So Lisa, do you remember 7 or 8 years ago, we made the porch swing, and then I've been using that swing ever since.
Out at the lake, Canadota.
No, I put it at her house.
Oh yes.
And then you came over and we
Yes.
cooked on the grill.
We did.
There's like no place to set anything except you set it on the ground, and then the dogs are running around. They knock
if you have a
stuff
plate
over.
or if you have a cup, you got to have something to set it on.
So the woodworking project for this time was making this table here.
Oh wow.
And it really worked out really well. But what was your idea for a recipe today?
Well, we are doing, you have an abundance of pheasant.
There's lots.
Yes.
There's lots in the freezer, yes.
So we're doing a pheasant, mushroom, spinach, creamy recipe that you could put over. You could do rice, you could do egg noodles, you could put it over mashed potatoes.
Okay.
So yeah, so we're
Awesome.
gonna do that. So we got some
Okay.
veggies. We got a little heavy cream, which I don't always use, but why not?
Sure.
And some pheasant that you were ever so generous to lend to me to use. So we're gonna start off. I'm gonna tell you a little back work that I did. You take about a cup of chicken stock, and you cook it down to about 1/4 of a cup, and then you set it aside. They
Okay.
want you to concentrate it. So I did that, and then you had already sliced up the pheasant into the small pieces. We've done that on the show before.
We did that on the show, yep.
So I just seasoned it well with salt. So,
Okay.
So we're good there.
Okay.
And then I turned on our pan here.
It
Yeah.
feels warm, okay.
And we're going to kind of dry cook the mushrooms to get any water or liquid out. So
Do that first?
Yep, that's going to be the very first thing.
Okay.
So we're going to put them in there. Whoops.
Oop, one.
Runaway mushroom. You can throw that in the
jump.
sink. You can
Okay,
throw that in
we
the
got a
sink.
jumper. Okay.
There you go. And then if you would they call it the shake method. I don't think you need to shake it, but just keep moving them around. And we just want to see that there's no liquid. We want to cook a little bit of the liquid out. It's
Wow,
not gonna be
they're already steaming. Look at that.
Yeah,
How about
there's
that?
not going to be a lot of liquid in there, but you're going to see that there is some.
So the steaming must mean there's a little bit of liquid.
There is. Well, I rinsed them.
Otherwise, it wouldn't steam, right?
True,
Yeah.
and I did rinse them, so they have, some liquid on them, but I did let them sit out for a little bit while we were getting ready.
Okay.
So yeah, you're not going to cook them down by all means. We're just going to make sure that there's no liquid in there.
Okay. Okay.
So that's about 1 pound of mushrooms, just so you know. And we have
that's a big batch.
Would you say that was about 1 pound of pheasant?
It's probably maybe
bit
just a hair over. Maybe
okay.
right around 1 pound, but just a hair over maybe.
And I say this in every show. You could use chicken, you can use turkey, you could use whatever you want. We happen to have pheasant, so we use it. And then, so we started off with the mushrooms. I do have 3 tablespoons of butter, which we're going to add in a little bit with 1/2 cup of shallot, which is an onion. You don't have to use shallots, but
Okay.
this is what the recipe called for. Shallots have that, they look like a purple onion, but they're smaller. They have thinner skin than a typical, covering than a typical onion. And they kind of have a taste between onion and garlic. So it's just, they're good in salads and salad dressings and things like that. So we're going to use 1/2 cup of shallots. In a couple minutes here, we'll get that.
Now, when the steam stops, does that mean the moisture's gone?
I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see how long. So you can see it's bringing.
It's really steaming now.
Well, the heat is bringing out the moisture.
Yeah, it sure is.
So
it sure is.
We want to get as much out of there as we can. So I did turn it up just a little bit. But you notice you have to keep moving them because they will stick.
They'll be, yeah.
We didn't have to put anything in that pan, and it has all that liquid. So
All the moisture just coming out, and it's bubbling and making steam.
Yep, it is. And those mushrooms, they actually smell good. Wait till we add the rest of it.
No, they smell great.
Yeah. So I can go over. I do have a teaspoon of dried thyme.
Okay.
I do have 1/4 cup of brandy.
Okay.
Okay. Some salt for flavoring. And then 1/2 cup of heavy cream. And then the very last thing we're going to add is going to be a cup of chopped spinach.
The spinach. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So we're going to cook those down a little bit more.
It's like all the water's like, you can sort of see it collecting there.
Yep.
But boy, is it making a lot of steam.
It is. It is. You wouldn't think there's that much liquid in a mushroom.
I didn't know that.
But there
I
is.
didn't know that.
Yeah, you always think when you're adding the onions and everything else, that's where it's coming from. But
That's where the moisture comes from. Boy, look at that. That's really something.
Yep. We don't need to add any liquid to that.
Sure not.
So, and this is a 1-pan deal, so it's fairly easy. It just takes a little bit extra time because we're trying to get rid of liquid.
Okay.
And then we'll add more. Because that's just the way it goes. That's just the way it is. So have you seen any deer out there?
We were coming back from the restaurant the other night. We counted 19 deer on the way back driving from the restaurant in Blooming Valley back to our house.
Oh my gosh.
19. And,
Wow.
and they were just everywhere.
Wow.
They were just everywhere. And I've seen a bunch of them hit by cars on, laying dead along the side of the road. And
I've seen that everywhere.
I just wonder if there's like more deer out this year than, like
don't know.
ever before.
Well,
I'm kind of wondering.
On our family's farm, the past couple of years, we've had problems with the diseases that have been out there that have killed the deer, and we have had no sign of that this year, which we had a dry summer, so we kind of thought that that would be the case, but it hasn't been, so that's a good thing.
Okay.
And then Terry and Landon did go out yesterday for archery. And of course they saw a couple bucks, nothing that they were able to shoot, but it was a good morning for them. It was a beautiful day, so, well actually it was Saturday, not Sunday.
In the patch where I go, I call it the funnel, where it's like oak trees.
Yeah.
And all summer long, when I've been going out there, I've seen this buck probably like 6 times or whatever. I'm just dying. I just hope that thing comes by.
Yeah,
I just hope that thing comes by. Oh.
Yeah, I know.
So
we had a friend who said they're tearing up their farm land, and they said you have an open invitation to come out, and we've got a couple really large bucks.
Oh my!
A nice invitation for my guys. So I think we're going to be here for a long time if we wait any longer for that to evaporate.
It seems like more and more fluids
more.
coming down to the bottom of the pan here.
It is.
Boy, is it making steam.
Those were some very heavy liquidated mushrooms.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I guess if that's the way to say it, I don't know. I think they're okay. I think what we're going to do is we're going to add our butter.
Okay.
Because I don't want them to get too brown. And then we're going to add our shallots, our half a cup of shallots, 3 tablespoons of butter, half a cup of shallots.
Are these going to get clear like other onion does?
They are. They're going to start to get translucent, and then that's when we know to move on to the next step.
Okay.
And that's when we're going to add the thyme, a little bit of salt, and some brandy.
Okay.
Oh, that smells so good.
It sure does.
We're going to keep it up high. Duane, you're really good with that left-handed spatula.
This left-handed spatula in my right hand.
In his right hand.
Isn't that interesting?
I'm so impressed. That's why we keep you around. You can handle those things. There's something about cooked onions and mushrooms that smells so good. That looks great. I'm going to tip it just a little bit so they can see.
Still just a little bit fresh on the onions there.
Yeah, but they're coming along.
They're going quick, yeah.
They will, and I chopped them up real fine. So I am going to start to sprinkle some thyme. Now we're going to smell some other scents.
Wow,
okay.
That smells great.
And now we're going to just sprinkle with some salt. Oh, that looks just great.
It smells great. It looks great.
Yeah.
It sure does.
It's amazing, though, how a pound of mushrooms can cook down.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That's really something.
Yep. And I would say they're about translucent. Would you agree with me?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So we're going to pour our brandy in. That's going to make it a totally different scent.
That'll give it a new smell.
Yeah.
Okay.
Listen to that.
Is there a particular kind of brandy that you like, or?
I just looked for one that wasn't flavored.
Okay.
There's a lot of flavored
that
brandy
they have.
out there.
Yep.
You know, so just one that didn't have a vanilla or an orange or a blackberry. I mean, there are so many to choose from, and I just looked for just a plain one.
That gave it a nice little scent.
Yeah, it did. Wow. Yep.
This recipe's very, very fun. Wow.
Well, you're getting a lot of arm work there.
It really smells great.
So I'm going to give it another minute.
Okay.
Then we're going to add our reduced chicken stock. I started with a cup. It's down to about 1/4 of a cup, roughly around there. I cooked it down. A half a cup of heavy cream, and then we're going to mix the pheasant in.
Okay.
And we're going to, once that's cooking, we're going to turn it down to medium. We're going to put the lid on, and we're going to let it cook 5 to 10 minutes until it's cooked through. Okay, so I'm going to give that another 30 seconds, Duane, and then we're going to add the rest of the ingredients. It's reducing, you can see that.
It is, yes, it is.
Wow. Okay, we're going for the chicken stock. I've got it turned all the way up. We're going to add the heavy cream. And you might have to, there you go. Get all that good stuff out. And remember, I did salt that, so it's salted well.
So you already salted it, okay.
I did, yep.
Okay.
So we're gonna bring that back up to a boil, then we're gonna put the lid on it, and we're gonna cook it for about, like I said, 5 to 10 minutes until it's cooked through. Those are small pieces. They're not gonna take long, especially with the lid on it, because it's gonna keep that in there.
Wow, this is really, really exciting.
Yeah. Oh, wow, that smells really good.
So you can use this with rice or potatoes?
You could do but you could do it over mashed potatoes, crusty bread.
You could, okay.
That would be really
Okay.
good, like an appetizer. You could use it
Okay.
as an appetizer. You could do rice. You could do like an egg noodle.
You could do noodle. You could do pasta. Yeah.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah,
That's awesome.
And now, a lot of people don't want to use heavy cream, and that's okay. I mean, sometimes I make substitutions. When I've had recipes call for heavy cream, I've taken like a fat-free cream cheese and melted it down with a little bit of butter and a little bit of like a lower fat cheese and some skim milk and made like a thick cream. You can pour that into any of your recipes. I do that all the time instead of using a heavy cream. But we're using that today, so. Okay, I think it's boiling well.
It's just starting to boil again. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so what we will do is just make sure it's evenly placed around
All
the pan.
all flattened out.
Yep.
Okay. Seems to be.
I'm gonna kind of flip that up so they can see.
That looks great. Boy.
Smells even better. I love the smell. And then I'm gonna reduce it to medium. We're gonna put a lid on it. We're gonna give it 5 to 10 minutes until it's cooked through. We'll check it in 5. If it needs a little longer, we've got more time, and then we'll go from there. We take that lid off, and I'm just gonna give that a stir. Look at that.
Wow. That's impressive.
It's been about 5 minutes. I think I would give it a little bit longer.
Okay.
So I'm gonna turn it down just a little, and we'll put that lid back on.
Okay.
And then we're gonna throw the spinach in. And our favorite time of the day is the taste testing, so.
So I went on YouTube and I looked up way back, and I looked up when we made the swing, and it says 6 or 7 or 8 years ago or something like that. And so I watched that
How
one.
you did it, yeah.
And it's like, oh, okay. So you came over and you did those things in the foil on the grill.
Right, that's right, we did.
But we didn't have any table to set anything on, so we're holding them in our hands.
Holding them. That's right. Well, we don't have to worry about that anymore.
So now we got something to put them on.
That's
so
right.
That's pretty helpful.
Okay, let me look at my clock. I think we can take that top off and add our spinach.
Okay.
So we're gonna, this was about a cup and I chopped it. And that cooks down really fast.
Wow.
Smell that.
That's impressive.
You see that nice color there? Now, ours didn't thicken up, which I kind of thought that it was going to. But one thing you can do is you can take...
It probably will.
It may,
It probably
sitting here,
will.
yeah. You can take a little bit of cornstarch and you can mix it with some water and then add that and it'll thicken up right
And
away.
cornstarch, that's specifically makes it thicker, right? I mean, that's what that's like its purpose.
It is. And you don't add it directly. You do it in a small cup of water.
Okay.
And then you add it to your mixture. I do it all the time when things don't exactly. And you can actually set that down, Duane, because I don't think we need to put it back on. I think as soon as that's cooked down, we're going to get to taste.
That looks great. Wow.
Just don't want to evaporate too much of the liquid.
You know, it's funny, since it's been maybe a couple of years, since we did a woodworking project.
It has been.
I did, you know, made the kayak paddle, you know, was
Right.
2 or 3 years back, and I made for the wild games, I made the target stand.
That's right.
But I don't think I've done a woodworking project since that. I don't.
And were those before the swing?
Oh, those were after the swing.
After
Those
the
were
swing.
way after the
Okay.
swing. Yeah.
What did we do at Canadota?
We did the deck over there.
Yeah,
We did the
that's
deck
right,
over there, and
that's
that was
right.
like 4 or 5 years ago,
Right,
something like that.
yeah.
And that's been very popular with the family over there.
Oh.
That deck has been great.
We were there for 4th of July. It's just, that's great. All right, Duane, you ready?
Yes.
Okay, let me turn this off. There we go. Here we are.
Thank you.
Don't burn yourself.
So that needs to cool off a little bit.
Yeah, it does. I think if I made this again, I think I'd add more spinach. It cooks down to nothing. I love spinach though.
No, me too.
Oh,
Oh, Lisa, that is great.
the thyme in that is so good.
Everything's good.
This would really be good over mashed potatoes.
Yep.
I
or,
can-
or pasta,
I
or
mean,
rice.
any of those,
or
but
anything, yeah.
Like when I read the recipe and they said over mashed potatoes, I'm like, oh, no, I can taste that. That would be great. Oh,
Lisa, that is wonderful.
that's a good one.
Well, Lisa, thank you for the awesome recipe.
Oh, you're welcome.
That was a lot of fun.
Yep. And thank you for your help. You're very good at being my mixer.
Faking my left hand and using my right hand.
Right?
Well, thank you to the folks at home for joining us on Crawford County Outdoors. And we'll talk to you next time. And man, am I finishing my recipe
Me
here.
too.